So, why should you build your own foldable electric bike instead of buying something off the shelf online or even in a local store? There are more and more choices available, and I'm going to look at some of them. The first option is definitely the cheap bike. This is the kind of cheap Chinese made or typically Chinese made electric bike that has tiny wheels, and there's tons of corner cutting everywhere. It only costs a few $100s, so it's really a good deal, but it's not likely to last longer than the battery. In fact, I would not be surprised if your battery outlasted the frame, because the frame is mass produced the cheapest way possible, and of course all of the components are the cheapest components imaginable. The design is not very attractive, although there are some that are not that horrible looking, but neither the visual appeal of the bike nor the fit and finish are worthy of mention. These kind of bikes could be useful if this is your first unit. In fact, my first electric bike was a cheap, not so cheap scooter. It was a stand-up scooter that cost me $1,200 in 2016. That's how long ago it was. And it was long distance. I think it had at least a 17 ampere hour battery, which allowed me to cruise more than 30 miles, maybe 35 miles on a single charge, which was a pretty big deal for me back then. And so I think these bicycles have a reason for existing, and I think you cannot go wrong if you start out by getting something cheap. So what if it falls apart after 2 years? It's not meant to last for a lifetime, and it's not priced that way either. So I think that's fine. But there are some people who ride these electrics for a year or two, and they reach that point where they just want more. And that's the point that I reached when I was in late 2017, and I decided that I wanted a real electric rig that could outperform pretty much everybody else. I just wanted something that I would keep for years, maybe a lifetime, and so I decided to build my own. Why? Because you could buy a high quality, really nice electric foldable bike, such as the Go Cycle or the Brompton electric available from the Brompton company. But here's the problem with those, and these are the features I did not like. Well, number one, the money you pay for something other people have built is going to be minimum an extra $1,500 above what it would cost you to buy the bicycle and the components of an electric kit and assemble everything. This is one of the reasons why I decided to build my own. But another one, and there are many, but there is another one, that speed locking, which is built into every single bicycle that you can buy ready-made. There are no exceptions that I know of. They cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and they're going to cut out at 20 miles an hour, or at least by 28. 28 is not that bad, but even at 28, if you have a sports car or a sports sedan sitting directly behind you at an intersection, and suddenly the light changes into green and you start accelerating and the bike cuts out all of a sudden, that's really dangerous. Not to mention that I don't want to be limited to 20 miles an hour. I think that's just a very low speed limit. If you've been commuting for a while, you know that there are some areas, some sections of the road where you can go a lot faster than that and not cause any trouble, so why would you not do it? Besides, at such a low speed, 20 miles an hour, even if you have mechanical road bikes around you, they will easily pass you and you'll be just clogging the road, really. The speed of traffic is a lot faster than that on most of the greenways, at least here in New York City. In addition to these problems, off-the-shelf bikes also have custom components. Most of them have custom body parts, brakes, and it's just very difficult to do anything with that system. Very difficult to repair anything, to get new parts. You can only use parts you are buying from the company that built the bike. You cannot just go and buy industry standard brand name components and say replace the brake or do something to the drivetrain or even the battery. Everything, the connectors are custom, the computer is custom. You can't really adjust or change anything, and it's very hard to repair anything. If you're gonna take it for a repair, you're gonna have to take it to somebody who's an expert, a licensed dealer. And in the case of something like the Go Cycle or even the Brompton, there may not be many of those people around you. There might be some, but there will not be many, and the cost of repairs is not going to be cheap either. So what's the point of building your own bike? To overcome all of these obstacles, to build something that is not speed locked. I have done as much as 32, 33 miles an hour on my home modified Brompton, which can be cranked up to as much as 800 watts. That's way better than you get from the Go Cycle at 500 or the Brompton Electric, which is only a 250 watt hub motor. That's all you get for nearly $4,000. I mean, this is a serious ripoff in my opinion. And also, home-built systems are very easy to modify. They are open. In fact, I can and I have reversed my electric Brompton back to the original mechanical Brompton several times over. You may want to do this because you're taking a trip. Maybe you want to fly and weight is a concern. Whatever the reason is, you can always do this. You cannot seriously think about reversing a Go Cycle which doesn't even have a non-motorized version. And even the electric Brompton would be very difficult, if not impossible, to reverse. So building your own bike is really the best way to go. But if you have never done it before, it's probably a risky proposition to try to assemble a kit and put it together yourself. It took me a long time to get it right the first time, but I've done it many times for the last 4 years, so I have created a Patreon account. If you're interested in putting it together but need expert help, then this is one option you can take. So long that you are a member, I am answering all questions. I am posting videos and give you whatever advice I can give to help you assemble your electrified Brompton bike or even another high-end bike. I would not help people modify something that's not high-end because I don't trust the safety. I don't trust that the quality is there to help you out in dangerous situations. So I would say if you want to have a foldable high-end electric bike, it should be a Brompton frame, a Birdie, or an Alex Moulton. These are probably the best frames that you can modify, and people have been modifying them for years. They work wonderfully. I can testify to that. If you don't feel like building your own bike, I can certainly build it for you. That's going to cost more than a membership at Patreon, but we can certainly talk about that. And it's still going to come out a whole lot cheaper than buying something off the shelf. Not to mention, it's going to be a lot more customizable and a lot more powerful. So join on Patreon and get in touch.